Hey everybody, if this was in VR without the echo, it would be in your face in 3D!
No!
Yeah.
Here's the show. I should have been better prepared. Yeah! I'm on fire. I'm orange. And maybe you need this as a background. So maybe you're not lighting your subject with this, but you want to light your background with it. Let's take the old vloggy. I'm sure this looks so orange on this camera, it's crazy. But that's the point, right? That's gelling. That's what you can do with it. Hey everybody, we're not even prepared when we're prepared. I've been preparing this episode
for a while today.
Wow, the volume's like really high.
Wow.
Sorry folks.
That's
we
all
must
right.
be doing things correctly with the volume cranked up. Let's lower it just a little bit. Just hold on.
It's just G off.
How's
It
that?
is.
That seems a little bit better. It was a little high a second ago. Now we brought it down a bit.
You
Brought
can't
it
bring
down.
it down.
Today on the show we're talking about if your DIY video production gimmicks and... Well, that's not DIY. Let me backtrack. Take two. Beep, beep. Hey, everybody. Today on the show, the beep, beep was the sound recordist guy.
There you go.
Just get a slate. Today on the show, we're talking about if your DIY lights and video production gimmicks are unprofessional. And we'll talk about what that means. Just some thoughts, just some random things going through my head. If you haven't seen... I launched a show on the channel called Drewing a Blank.
Yeah. It's about asking your kids about cocaine.
Apparently. Boy, that got me some
Yeah, it
feedback.
got you with a lot of trouble.
I got a lot of private messages on that one. You sure you want to talk about cocaine with your kids? Yes, I want to talk about cocaine with my children, because if I talk to them about it now, maybe when they start doing it, they'll tell them, wait. If you've never seen this show, you don't seem to understand. I have a very lovely relationship with my family where we laugh. And that made me and Sarah laugh. The kids didn't understand it. It's fine. It's temporary. Like when you put them in a drawer for a nap. It's okay. Call back.
That's a very big callback.
He doesn't even watch the dadgum show anymore.
I don't think he does. I think he gave up on us.
He gave up on us a long time ago. As you can see, different lighting today. We don't have our normal bouncy stuff. You got a little top light up here, and Jeff's got a little gimmick on his face there, and
We
there's
got
a little
lots
light
of-
over in that corner doing some
lots of
business.
stuff.
So yeah, one of the things we were going to talk about is the fact that this room is lit with a grand total of, I don't even know if I'm going to count that one over there, maybe $43. $43, it's lit. It's not perfect. I could have spent a little more time, but I did spend at least an hour prepping for this show, which is way better than normal. We had a little bit of a dip before we go out of town for a while, so, you know, Jeff was color grading essentially, so I just got to monkey around.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I'm expecting a phone call. I have a feeling I'll get a phone call in the middle of this with
I forgot to make
catastrophe
sure.
of
Mine's not turned off.
information. We'll see what happens. But we are currently lit with $43, and this is all stuff you can get from Home Depot minus some magical gels that are on there, and we'll talk about that shameless plug in moments. Let's talk about
pretty
beers.
shameless.
We're not matching today.
No, not at all.
Because Jeff doesn't want to carry the show by himself. What are you drinking, Jeff?
I'm drinking something probably heavier than you.
Yeah.
Actually. Omnipolo Bianca. Somewhere over there.
I think the focus is back here.
It is a... Throw it back here by Drew's face. I'll read this off. It is a blueberry maple pancake Gosa ale brewed with blueberries and lactose sugar and maple syrup.
Yep.
7%.
Just want to give you guys a heads up too. If it gets too crazy upstairs, like they were drilling into what sounded like human skulls earlier, if it continues to do that, we may just cut the stream because it's really annoying.
It is really annoying.
They're converting the space above us into fest space, as I like to call it. Allegedly, there's going to be a nice little room with a 4K laser projector. We'll also have the theater. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, that's what's happening above us. They're making a movie theater, or I mean a conference-y space with
space.
Epic thing in it.
Yeah.
Jeff's drinking that beer. I can't drink it because it has lactose. That would end my relationship with this show very quickly. Or I could just live stream from the toilet. But
we've done it once before.
Yeah, that's like A. Jones territory.
But we didn't live stream.
I'm drinking Good People IPA. They've got a bigger distribution. They're somewhat local. If you have a chance, give them a shot. Pretty tasty. I wasn't going to drink a beer today, but Jeff brought it, so I feel like that should happen.
I brought it over the weekend.
I saw that.
Prepped.
I grabbed one earlier thinking it was a Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yep. Dairy is scary. Amateur Media Group.
That's true. That's pretty good. I went on a rant. It's coming up, I think, tomorrow, on how I'm just kind of over craft beer at the moment. I mean, Ghost in the Machine wowed me to no end. Boom Sauce. But a lot of the beers are starting to taste the same to me.
Yeah.
And that led me down a path of, I think I'm only going to drink these Coronas.
You're going back to macro beer.
Macro beer, yeah. But Sarah bought Corona Premium, which is basically like drinking water. Yeah. It's like carb, heavy emphasis on carbonated water. I mean, it's good. It tastes delicious, but it's like carbonated water, so I don't know.
It's Topo Chico with a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah. It just doesn't really work so well. Getting a little chubba-faded. But in the process of doing some of these vlog videos, I started thinking about the DIY, sort of where we started. And I think there's not a lot of value, or there's a lot of value in the information, but there's not a lot of info. I think in the end, everyone still looks for a technology gimmick, and I kind of wanted to go backwards. I wanted to look at like the most technologically advanced items I could find. Like this is like the monolith in 2001, and we've got bones in our hands. Like this guy, we've got this thing. I just found this in a case over there. I'll just throw it on the ground.
There you go.
I might have just stabbed a pigeon.
Probably.
But it's just looking at that kind of stuff and looking at that content and being like, hey, let's just try something else. So that's part of what we're doing. And we'll show you guys in a minute how we kind of have this lit. I think it looks fairly decent. It's not perfect. And by the way, we're on the natural profile because I didn't want to deal with vlog. We're on the natural profile. But, you know, it's not bad. And again, for $43, and I bought cheap light bulbs. I could have gotten the 150 bulbs. But I'll go over that kind of stuff in a second. We'll talk about the Jelly Roll. So one of the video gimmicks that's amazing that is now kind of part of a lot of people's lexicon, but I'm asking, is it cheap? Because it does, me and Jeff use this a lot, and that would be slow motion. So let's take a peek at what happens when you take slow-mo in any capacity. I'm letting the hard drive wake up. I hear you waking up, hard drive. We don't want to kill the streams, Ray. But we take slow-mo, we put some emotional music, maybe a little bit of a sound that doesn't even necessarily be in sync, it just creates an emotion, and you kind of slap it together. It's a very easy way to kind of create an emotional platform. And so I'm asking, I've often heard on like higher end that it's gimmicky. It's a gimmick to do that kind of stuff, tell a better story. Let's take a look. This is not a story, it's just B-roll, but I think it's about the birds and the bees that leads to steak. That's the name of the movie. All right, there you go. So prime examples, you got slow motion footage with some emotional music, light dappling through some trees, bees, because you guys know my obsession with that plant right outside my garage. I like bees. I can't help it. I want to be an apiarist, whatever. I want to be a beekeeper one day. Me and Horst have plans to open a place that serves nothing but bees and cheese, so it's honey and cheese.
Bees and cheese.
That's the name of it. And the logo will be Oprah Winfrey. Bees! Doing that with Nick Nolte. No, Nicolas Cage.
Maybe Nick Nolte.
Yeah, Nick Nolte too. Just throw any famous Nick Kroll, Nick Nolte, all the Nicks, Nicholas Sparks. That's what was cooking on the grill, was Nicholas Sparks. No, that was dumb. So one of the things about the slow-mo stuff, is it a cheap gimmick? Because we all know if you've shot a lot of slow-mo, or you're not, if you're not experimenting with slow-mo because you're like, well, I can't deliver it in 4K, hold on a second, bucko. Just consider the fact that if it creates an emotional response, you find the right piece of music. Again, this is a shameless plug, and there's going to be several of these, but we like Artlist because, dang it, for the fee, like, we have access to a lot of different music, and I can kind of create different emotional strengths. I even put Artlist up against a bigger library the other day. The client picked the Artlist songs, and that was from like $2,500 songs. Like, so at the end of the day, it's good music. Now, they understand it's not exclusive, but that's what it is. Point being, you take a good piece of music, you take some slow motion stuff. I know Jeff has just been grading some of this stuff on a project, and it was a very quick, down and dirty project. But is it an emotional gimmick? Or not emotional. Is it a cheap gimmick? Is it a video production gimmick to take slow-mo and put it in because we know what we can instantly do? And does that mean we are being lazy? And that's what I mean by unprofessional. Are you being lazy because you're not rolling in with whatever it might be?
I don't think you're being lazy. Technically, it matters. Because you can't turn it into a crutch. If you turn it into a crutch, then you're being lazy with it.
But if it still gets the effective measure across, is it working?
Yes, they can work.
See, that's what I'm saying.
They can work most of the time, yeah.
But at the same time, it is slightly unprofessional to kind of like maybe not think through the narrative at all.
Yeah,
just
like
spray and pray some slow-mo. Yeah. And I'm not zinging anybody that does that, by the way. We do it literally all the time. In fact, what Jeff was just cutting was interviews with B-roll, slow-mo B-roll.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
Not quite spray and pray. Well,
no, there's a little bit of. There's like 2 conceived shots. Yeah. The rest of it is like
there's a little bit of.
Let's walk around with a Xenon Crane 2 and some, you know, some camera and shoot some B-roll. Doesn't matter what camera either. You can do that same crap off your cell phone. So it's not a camera specific problem. It's everybody. Or a GoPro. It's like if you shot everything with a GoPro because you're just like lazy enough to never have to focus. That's how. True. I mean, you could see it that way.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing it up. I don't know what's happening in the comments. I see a lot of yellows.
A lot of the yellow's us.
Oh, never mind. Oh,
I've been commenting on red, that Clemson orange.
Oh yeah, that's right. And now we're LSU yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, piss poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's a gimmick to kind of go down that path of, you know, looking at footage and just kind of running like down and dirty, simple, throwing up some slow-mo and just making it work? Is that appropriate for a vlog, blog, whatever, video blog, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, I think it's perfectly great.
For that, yes.
But is it bad for a commercial project? Like, if I were doing, obviously I would have cleaned the grill a little bit more. Like if I were doing a commercial project, probably used a new grill so I'd get a little extra shine. Yeah. But if I shot it just like that, it was like, come on down to Sizzling Steak Steakhouse. Is that bad?
Yeah, no, you need it in slow-mo.
Right. So it works, right?
Yeah. No,
but what if the client wanted like, they wanted like shots of their restaurant? Would you do those in slow-mo? I'm talking about really dirt cheap video production here.
Dirt cheap, yeah.
Yeah, I would too. It's a straight gimmick.
I would.
I'd straight gimmick the shit out of it. I mean, I wouldn't even think twice.
No!
Yep, I would. Wouldn't think twice. I think that's the point is, I'm just asking, is it unprofessional? And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I see a lot of content, and a lot of it is, you know, a lot of it's that.
No,
and
a lot of it is.
It gets hailed as like ultimate, pentultimate filmmaking, and in some ways it is, and in other ways, is it just lackluster thought? Is it just grabbing your camera and shooting slow-mo because you can? Which, by the way, all that was like GH5, 1080, 180 frames a second slow-mo stuff. I look, 1080p, that stuff looks fantastic. A little bit of, I didn't even grade it. I just neutralized it. Like I might have even thrown a craft show LUT on it. Like I didn't do a whole lot. But it works in the sense that it put a little piece together. It works that way. So slow-mo is a gimmick in that capacity. I think that goes that way. It's the same way with like super deep focus all the time.
Yeah.
That's a way to hide production value.
It is. And
that's where like this Sigma art, I think, has gotten a bad name with a lot of guys and gals that are shooters that just don't want to, you know, they shoot a lot of content and they're just tired of seeing the Sigma 18 to 35 because, hell, man, the whole damn thing's in focus if you want it to be. Except for right now. But
right now. I'm out of focus with my shoulders.
Yeah, but I'm shooting wide open for this kind of lighting effect to kind of give us this top light with a little splash of front light. So then it goes
also a very sharp lens.
It is very sharp, but I mean, you can use Film Convert and pull some of that stuff down.
You don't have to use film converter to do it.
Well, that's true. You don't even have to use DaVinci to do it.
Don't. You just use a filter.
You know what I found?
What?
And that's coming up in another video. Do you remember the old days we talked about this? Do you remember, like, I'm talking about back to old Mitchell Lipsner stuff. Working for him, where you would talk, where we would get those French pantyhose and put them over the back of the lens.
Did you find a net filter?
No. I wish I did. I think it'd be amazing. I definitely don't think it'll work on electronic cameras. But back in those old days, a lot of times on the commercials we were doing, they would only spend the money on the minimum amount of stock possible. And the producer we were working with, he liked 500T, Vision 500T, I forget the number. So we would always buy Vision 500T, and then you'd be forced to use that tungsten stock outside.
Yeah.
Right? So,
okay, I know what you're going to
yeah.
now.
So the problem is, when you go outside and you do that, you don't have a white balance with film. There's no white balance. The film stock is the white balance. You either have a tungsten rated film or you have a daylight rated film, and they were too cheap to buy both. So they would get one stock and be like, you guys just deal with it, which meant we would slap on an 85. And I was thinking about that the other day, and I ended up making a video come out one day this week where I was playing around with it, just using a piece of CTO over the lens.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, the one thing I noticed about it, I started getting these weird streaks out of it. So there's like this weird convergence Kevin Duggan streak filter coming out of it. So it made me wonder if maybe, just maybe, you could play around with slapping some of this cheap plastic. Not cheap, it's expensive, but slapping some of that plastic on the lens to get different effects that way. Just doing some shit in camera, man. Like, stop doing everything post-wise.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, maybe a cheap piece of plastic ND that's got a little smudge on it will soften the lens up, you know?
Oh, I would.
So then it got me thinking, how many of those safety plates do we have? The clear filters.
Oh, we have 2 opticals.
Can we sacrifice an optical flat?
Yeah, we can sacrifice a flat.
I think we sacrifice an optical flat, and then we just glue some, we find a way to glue. I'm serious.
Okay.
Or attach, some way of attaching, maybe little bits of Velcro. I don't know. Some way we attach some crappy filtration to it and see if it'll still fit in the tray.
Not going to a Velcro.
No, because it'll stick out too far.
Yeah.
But if you glued it to it, it would.
Yeah.
Mostly. Come on, you kind of think it's an interesting idea.
No, I think it's a very interesting idea.
And you're going to get a weird effect.
Actually, you know what might actually be... I don't know. Well, yeah, let's experiment. Try to find a way to save the filter at the same time.
You get
something the sticky tape.
Yeah. Oh, double-sided.
Yeah. Well, either that or that's even better. But I was thinking like the tape you have for college dorms and stuff, so you can't.
Yeah.
It's like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
You know?
Teacher tack.
That never works.
Yeah, teacher tack. No, but if you did double-sided, it might work.
Double-sided tape would work.
You just put it around the edge, cut the piece, stick it to it, shoot it. I don't know. It's just an idea. Stuff I want to play with, like dumb things. Again, DIY.
See, at first I thought you were going to talk about...
I think that's being creative, not unprofessional.
I thought you were going to put petroleum jelly on it. And go that route with the optical flat.
I just don't want to have to clean it.
Which, I know.
Because it gets all over the matte box, and then it's just... And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, that's old film techniques. Like, that's the old school of doing things. Like, all these things. And they have value. Why? Because the majority of them were DIY. That's the value of it. So some of these old school DPs, like you might see it now, or some might see it now, as unprofessional to smear Vaseline. I mean, that kind of known one, but smear Vaseline on a
That's
VFX
one of the
plate.
more known ones.
Or to take a very specific French pantyhose and cut it out and mount it to the back of the lens so you get like a bloomy effect. You have to live with it. You can't change it. But that now I think would be considered like kind of unprofessional, when is at the time that was like the apex of innovation. Like this is pre-Black Pro Mist.
It could be.
Pre-Tiff and Soft Effects and all that kind of stuff.
I did a show where we did it.
The show net?
No, not net, but the Vaseline. And then also on the same show we did hairspray.
Oh yeah, I don't know the hairspray one. Does it work pretty
good?
It's
optical. Yeah, it's kind of makes a mist. Like a mist. A soft, very, very soft
Now, is that
mist
being
effect.
cheap? Is that production being cheap?
No, that was actually on top of a Black Pro Mist and a chocolate filter, both on top.
Whoa.
I think it was either chocolate or turquoise that we had with it.
Oh, I know what that was.
Yeah. Small Washington.
The weed movie.
Yeah. The movie
is that how you do a bong?
Still
like
not around.
Is that the international symbol of bong?
I don't know if there is an international symbol. Etheridge, you were here
Yeah, Melissa.
earlier. You can tell us.
Melissa, what's the international symbol for bong? Aside from your face.
Tell Tom York that we said hello as well.
Oh my God. You're not even here and you can just get trashed.
Exactly.
It's terrible. Terrible. I don't know what's going on in the chat ski. So let's talk about the lighting element. So as you guys can see, we have like this different lighting thing. So what I want to do is go a little not conventional, and I'm just going to kind of show you what we have rigged. So I'm going to go around to the camera and I'm going to play with some stuff. So first I'm going to show you what we have. Jeff will still be in the chat ski, but
Yeah, I'm trying to.
it's going to look unprofessional right now as I adjust the camera live on this really cheap tripod. So there we go. Look at that. Yep. So what we have up there, without me yelling in the mic, I'm sorry guys.
Yeah, don't yell into it.
Yeah, it's pretty loud. I bet they can hear that. So what we have up there is these really cheap. I'm going to say myself a hassle here. It's one of these gimmicks. Oh, I'll just go over there.
There you go.
So what this basically is one of these gimmicks, right? So that's one of those cheap Home Depot clamp lights. I think they're called wooden clamp lights or something like that. And so you can see I've got a piece of grid and some CTB, just C47, which cost you less than a nickel, to the front of this, just strapped on. And then because it's a clamp, it's just hanging from the ceiling. So I'm going to reset the light real quick. Let me maybe hand this down for a second. Show you Jeff's face again. Give you
I'll
something.
get back into it.
There he is. Let's get the.
Oh, that's straight up right in my face.
All right, now Jeff's getting a little bit of laptop spill. Can you dim the laptop a little bit? Do you mind?
How you do that? No. It's black.
Oh, it's black. There we go. So that's the two can lights, or those cheap little lights, working on Jeff's face. That's all we have. So for funsies, let's get rid of one. So I'm gonna kill this front lamp here, so he'll be primarily backlit. It's gonna get dark, but it's still very moody. So if Jeff were in this sequence, again, not terribly exposed. It's very moody, right? So if you were looking mostly, let's say you're doing an interview and you're looking right here, and you wanted some kind of sports style interview, you got a vibe right there. Look at the vibe on it, right? So Jeff's got a vibe to it. So then we would bring in another lamp, and we can bring this guy in. Sorry for your eyeballs. You can go back to the chat ski if you need to.
That's fine.
But what I wanted to show is that's those cheap lights, and we're running 65-watt bulbs inside of it, right? So in this other lamp that's off camera here, I'm just going to keep it on Jeff's face because I think this is a much better lighting demo than anything else. What I have on this light here is a piece of ND3. Now what I'm going to do is just remove, carefully, oh crap.
Uh-oh. You
Drop
dropped
my
it.
bullets. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'll get flagged on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I'm going to remove this piece of ND here, right? And you can see dramatically how much brighter it gets. So there's the ND on. And this is just a little piece, a little single piece of ND3. And there's it off, right? And so what I have behind it is I have a little bit of daylight, balancing gel, which I'm using a half, and I folded it over to give me a full because I'm lazy. And then I also have a piece of grid on top of it. Now there's better diffusion, and I'll go over that in a second, but there's better diffusion. So what would happen if we took another piece of ND3? So now we're going to make this ND6, right? You can see the shift. So this is the poor man's process if you don't have a dimmer. So if you don't have a dimmer, all of a sudden, I can dramatically shape and control the light in order to get what I want out of the shot. In this case, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Jeff looks fine and dandy. He's a little bit on the bright side, but it's better than this. This is too much to me. That looks sourcey, looks like video. Suddenly that's starting to knock it down a bit. And again, that's using a 65-watt household crystal clear light bulb that you can get from Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, doesn't matter. And using one of, don't touch the bulb.
No,
Using one of these. That's what we're using. That's what's lighting Jeff right now. 2 of them with this bulb in it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
With that light bulb. Bloop. He's got an idea. Bing. I don't know. That was stupid. But
didn't turn
you get
on.
the point. Yeah.
It's been awesome if it would have turned on, see?
So the problem with that stuff is if we were to strip everything back, and let's just go bare bones, what I see a lot of people do is they get these raw bulbs, whether they're Ari kits or whatever. Prepare your eyes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm taking everything off.
But if we go full naked, if that doesn't look hideous, I don't know what does. And why is it so orange, you ask? Well, the color temperature balance on the camera right now is at 4,200. Let me make sure of that. Yeah, 4,200. So the first thing is, if I just added diffusion, and I'm using something called grid, I just add diffusion, Jeff's still warm, though the light has been dispersed a little bit more, and each diffusion has a different quality. The light's been dispersed, Jeff's still really warm in my opinion. I love you, but you look terrible. So then let's say we wanted to counterbalance this tungsten light bulb. Well, we would use what's called CTB, which is color temperature blue. That's what it stands for. That's what I remember it as. I'm sure there's probably some other reason, but I go with CTB, color temperature blue. This is half blue, right? Whoops. So there's half blue, and it's looking a little bit better. It's not bad. His color tint, he looks fine. Like, it might not be a bad image to have that. And then we'll throw ND up and bring it down a bit. That's not bad looking. That's pretty even. I call that ESPN, but it's not quite where I would want it just visually. So, as I said earlier, all I'm going to do is double this piece of blue over as best I can in this. I'm going to double this piece of blue over. I feel like that looks more like Jeff's skin tone. The only thing that I have an issue with is that it's a little bit on the hot side, so I'm just going to throw... Wow, I have totally broken this whole system. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to throw a piece of... a real quick piece of ND on Jeff's face, because I feel like that's a little more moody and a little more interesting. You can see I can paint the line. See the hole there? That's for me just not putting up a full piece. I like to work in 1 foot squares. So Jeff's face, live lighting demo, like right there. You see it. That's what we're getting out of it. I think he was in focus most of that. Yeah. So there you go. That's DIY. You can't get any cheaper than that. I'm going to back us back out here. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to try and find the middle.
Somewhere there. Hey, what? Now I'm in focus.
Yeah, I think I'm probably out.
You probably are. But if you scoot forward some, you'll be fine. I don't know. No, I'm back.
No, not too bad right here.
Yeah.
I'm not super far on the plane.
Just go a little bit back.
So again, does that look bad? Remove what these lights are. Remove from your brain that it is this very cheap Woodford.
Woodford.
It's something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever. You also have to pay attention to which one you buy, because some of these can only handle like up to 65 watts. They make a few of them that handle up to 150s.
Yep.
So now imagine if I had 150 watts in here, I would have a much higher exposure. We are shooting at ISO 800 and we're wide open, but if I wanted to have more, I could actually add bigger bulbs, which they make these clear bulbs. You're not going to find those maybe at Home Depot, 150s.
Yeah, not clear ones.
Right.
Probably not.
You're probably not going to find these, but you can at least get something out of it. It'll work with LED bulbs as well. The same concept works. My only thing about the LED bulb is it's suddenly expensive. And when that bulb goes out, and LEDs have a weird color temperature. If you don't believe me, this bulb is funky back here. I mean, it's fine, but I feel like it's a little greenish, and part of it's from this, but even just the light underneath has a slight, you guys can't see it, but has a slight hue to it that I'm not super big fan of. So I'd have to go back and correct for that.
Is this the bulb you're using? No.
No, there's a vintage bulb.
Yeah.
The first time I tried this test and I was playing around with it, I got a vintage bulb in there and it just totally ruined it.
Ah.
So, the point being, I don't think that's unprofessional. I think I'm lit, and I wouldn't really care at the end of the day. If this is the story we were trying to tell, this is the vibe we wanted, and this is what we needed to do it with,
hey, it
then
worked.
So be it. It worked. I mean, that's it.
Yep.
That's all you're after. So don't let lighting, stuff like that, don't be one of those people that's stuck in this mindset of like, well, I don't have all the gear necessary to do it. Yeah, sure you do. I mean, you might not have enough money. Like, you might not have, these cost about $8 to $12 now. For the 150s are about 12 bucks. Yeah. A pack of 2 light bulbs, these clear bulbs, is $6. So you're at $14. Yeah. The only reason I marked ours up is because, in fairness, I used an extension cord. So $28 technically, but I added an extension cord in the mix. The other thing you can do with these, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I can get to it right now. Let's try it. Jeez,
taking it all apart?
Yeah. Yeah, because it won't come off. You can you can remove all the gimmicks.
You can. That's not going to completely come off because of the bulb.
Yeah, rocket science, folks.
Yeah.
Don't do this part in front of any of your clients. You can remove all the.
You can do that in front of your clients. Though.
Yeah, totally do that. You can remove all the gimmicks, and if you can do the unscrewing here, you can basically then have a free hanging bulb. So if you wanted like one of those really moody scenes, guess what? You got a free hanging bulb. Bulbs. Yeah, just practicable bulb. So they're not bad to have in your kit. Plus they're dimmable. Why would you not want that? So eventually, when you can afford bigger lighting, yeah, go for it. The other thing I was going to mention, DIY or not, yeah, granted these look kind of stupid. I mean, they make a great hat, but they look kind of stupid. If you go to Home Depot, again, while you're at Home Depot, for like $6, you can pick up a can of high heat paint that's used for barbecue grills that's black.
Yeah, you could.
And you spray paint the outside black and keep the inside silver. Guess what? Now you've just given yourself even more credibility because you have a black, no one's going to pay attention to it. And the black lamp looks, quote, more professional. The point is, there's no excuse for just going out and getting stuff done. It's stupid. This is the same argument that we've had multiple times on the show where people are worried about low light. That's my solution for low light. Doesn't matter what camera you're using, you can get away with it. Now, granted, I'd probably be at... No, I could still probably be at 800 ISO in here with the regular GH5. I could probably be all right with that.
Yeah.
I would need a little more. But if you just got the 150 watt bulbs, no excuses. You now have stuff to do things with. And the point I was bringing that up with on the shameless side of this whole conversation is Jeff and I kind of went through a bunch of our stuff. Don't do that. I went through a bunch of our stuff and realized that we were kind of. I've got a problem with hoarding gels. Like
No, we have a lot.
As long as I've known you, I've had a gel kit.
Yeah.
And it started with Lumpkin, and it's just kept going. I have some gels that, pulling them out of a box yesterday, were so brittle they just kind of cracked in my hands. I threw them away. But it got us thinking, like, we have all these gels that we're not going to use because it was all from film production, and we're just never going to go through enough. Why not make, like, what we used to call a jelly roll? And so inside of that jelly roll, we have CTO, which I'll just show you. If I put this up, Jeff's going to get noticeably orange like it was at the beginning because it's a warming filter. It's meant to combat daylight. So if you wanted to put this in front of a lamp, it helps knock down daylight. And then we have various forms of diffusion. It feels like an infomercial, but I'm just trying to teach you guys stuff. You can buy all this stuff from B&H. You can buy everything I'm talking about in rolls, and they have some packs that you can get that are 10 by 12 squares, and I'll get to the reason why we were trying to sell them to you guys, just because it was cheaper, and we thought it was a better idea. You have grid, which is a diffusion, 216, which is a fairly heavy, that might be 250, I think this is 216. 216 here, that's a heavier diffusion, so it disperses, makes the light even more even. You've got various forms of CTB, so this is like this is an eighth. We have another diffusion which is 250 or 251. We have full CTO, ND. I can't tell anymore. Yeah, that's ND3, sorry. And then we have half CTO or quarter CTO, which is a lighter sort of straw, Type 5. Probably won't see much of effect from it from down here, but it'll add a little warmth to it. Plus we have a bunch of other stuff like we used to call it Leading Lady, and I forget the model number inside the book now, but it is for skin tones. Remember that?
It's a pink.
It's a pink with a diffusion built in like a frost. And it is specific to skin tones.
I don't remember
and
the
we
number
happen to be shooting people with much darker skin tones than my pasty butt. So they had like one of them was like a little more on the tan side. One of them was African American. One of them was Hispanic in that space. And all three skin tones under that leading lady looked phenomenal. They looked great. If you put a pasty Conan O'Brien looking guy like myself, as far as the pasty part, don't look like Conan any other way. If you put that in there, then it doesn't look so good. We look pinker than normal. We look like a pink weenie hot dog, but it works really well. So the point is, those gel packs that you can buy are fantastic. Roscoe makes them, Lee Filters makes them. The downside to them is they typically sell them either in master packs or they sell them in ways that are specific. So it'll be like party gels, like a party blue, which is, you know, you've seen party gels. Those are DJ type scenarios, and you may have a need for that. Or they'll sell them in Just Diffusion. And so what we thought was, we have all these scraps. They're not really scraps. Some of this stuff is on fresh rolls, right? So these are legitimately full rolls, or were. We have some of that stuff, so why not just take it, cut it, and sell it? So I am shamelessly plugging that because it does help us fund more things, but more importantly, it's an asset to you guys, and we're trying to sell it as cheaply as humanly possible. I even have very cheap labor, my wife and my children, helping sort it, so it's there if you need it. It could help you grow.
2-year-olds with scissors.
2-year-olds with scissors. That's how we do it.
That
and
should
cocaine.
Be that
I give them a bump of
vlog
cocaine.
right there.
Yep. I give them a bump of cocaine.
Your vlog, your vlog.
A vlog. Same thing.
It is.
And then I just turn them loose.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's what I wanted to say. It's like, is that lighting cheap? Does this lighting look cheap right now? Is it perfect? No, it's not. I probably need a little more control. I could use a whole lot more stuff. But it's doing the job that I needed to do in a pinch. And on a budget, I'm getting exactly what I need for very little. And I would have no problem lighting with this in front of a client. The only reason why Jeff and I use the other bits instead of this is the one thing missing from this is barn doors.
It is, but
black wrap.
When you could do black wrap, but when you did take the cone off,
yeah.
If you have another one, you could put it on the front, tape around the little
that's
holes
true.
You make snoot.
Yeah, could make a snoot. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. That's genius. So there, you got a snoot. So, which is just a way to focus light. You know, it's just a professional snoot for me. Looks like. No, it's good.
That's what I learned in college. How to do things cheaply.
This is for an RE150.
There you go.
But a professional snoot looks like that, right? And then it has like this little peephole on the front if you want to do it that way. But what Jeff's saying is you take two of these, tape them together, boom, you have a poor man's snoot. That's genius. So now you have a focused beam of light coming out. It's not like going to be Rage of the Lost Ark shaft of light, but it does mean if I just wanted to get a hair light very specific, I could get it out of it and make it work. You know, we use a lot of doors. I would flag it off. Up there, you can't see it again. I'm not going to pan the camera up, but I have a piece of Duvetine clipped to the back of it, dripping down so that I wouldn't get much spill back here. And you can see it's much darker. If I were to remove that Duvetine, there'd be a little bit of spill on the side, and I was trying to kind of make it more of like a coffin. So, or that's a lighting term, but just to cut some of the background out. And I could even hang two of them over top and put some duvet around it and just keep the light very centered down if I wanted it to without a lot of spread left and right. So it's very top light heavy. That's all basic stuff. This is all cheap stuff that's there. And I just wanted to encourage people. Jeff and I have been talking a lot about that. We have a road trip coming up, and that's one of the things. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some great technology in LED. It's great. It's awesome. Aperture lights are great. But in all honesty, I would probably buy a bunch of these and learn lighting on the cheap with a bunch of gels before I spent, you know, upwards of $1,000 on a piece of lighting gear. That's just me. And these are fun. You can learn to shape the light very quickly. The downside, they just get hot.
No, they get very hot.
I mean, they're
the longer you go.
Yeah, they get hot. But all these, the proper gels, the reason we use these is because they deal with the temperature very well. So if you guys are interested, I'm sure that I think I threw the link down there. Whatever. That shameless plug part over, but just wanted to offer some encouragement for your lighting needs. I mean, that's not bad. I don't like the shadow back here. It needs a little, maybe a little more diffusion, but I think that's coming from, based on the way it looks, it's coming from your lamp over there.
Yeah.
But if I had a cutter up on that side, I could probably flag that off so it was just into this space.
You could.
Because that, the two of us, that's not bad looking.
No. No.
I don't know. Now we're just
Okay.
chatting. You guys got questions, comments? Final statement on it? No, your gimmicks aren't cheap. They're not unprofessional. You do what you got to do to tell the story. Just don't make them a crutch, which is what Jeff said was great. And if you are going to use these cheap lights, just use them as a stepping stone to get you to the next level. Right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to be your stepping stone. Hey, 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 I'm a stepping stone.
See what you're doing there.
Yeah, but I'm doing the minor threat in my head, not the original.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of writing us, Christopher Pepe said he knew a guy that lit everything of Chinese lanterns beautifully.
Same thing.
I used to love them. I was trying to write. I lit my second and hopefully final. It is my final wedding with Chinese lanterns.
Yeah.
And Christmas lights.
And these are the exact same thing. That this same rig.
It really pretty much is.
The same light bulb gimmick without this on it. That's all a Chinese lantern is. And they make some of them. They make where the bulb comes off. Boop, 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 boop. You hang it like this, and you clip the rig to it. Guess what? Done. And so what you can do is, if you want to balance the daylight with the China ball, you can put the bulb in. You can get a daylight bulb, like an LED or something, but you can also put the bulb in and then gel inside the China ball, and voila, you have the magic. This is the exact same thing. And again, find the ones that take 150s and you get a lot more light of it. So now all of a sudden you can light all kinds of stuff with China balls. That's cheap. That's very cheap. Theirs are dirt cheap. And they work really well. I just have no shame. I think I broke it. I just have no shame in trying to make things work and make them pretty, and I fixed it. It just needs to be good enough to get the job done. Tell the story, put everything else behind you. And technology now with cameras is so much better. You're not having to worry about like all the other crazy stuff of what film stock you're using and all the antics. Anything in the Chasky?
Yeah, Ivan just popped up a good
Ivan?
question.
Ivan Walrus?
Yep. Any
Ivan?
tips on how to shoot actors in harsh daylight where you don't have the option of a big diffusion because you shoot guerrilla style? I'm preparing for my first film and a bit afraid of exteriors.
Okay.
Hashtag no budget.
Do you mind? Let's see. Let me think how to do this. Hold on. I'll show you. You want the sun. This is about to get real terrible.
Yeah, it is. I can already feel
dolly
it.
track
I don't
on
know
the
what
floor.
it is. It's speed rail. That's fine.
Hang on, Ivan. Live. Your questions answered live on this whack-a-mole. Son of a bee. This dang stupid aluminum. Oh, I see it's bent. Yeah, these can't travel anymore. Let me find a stinger real quick. Jeff, you can talk. Tell me about your photography thing.
What photography thing?
Your potential blog.
Oh, my blog? Well, I guess I will since I just said it. Drew started his personal one. I'm starting a personal one too. Used to be a stills photographer that did conceptual photography. Going back to it, and I'm going to do a vlog of my experiences of trying to get back into that mindset. It'll be weird. It'll be probably boring to some people, but also interesting to some people. I don't know. People seem to like me, so whatever.
Well, that was convincing.
It's very convincing. People want to watch the thing, watch it. If they don't, I don't care.
Hang on, Ivan, I swear I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. You're getting ready to blind me. That's fine.
Well, I'm going to try and make it sunlight as much as I can without messing stuff up.
Oh, and then also I'll be working, because Tony said great to get photography tips. I'll be working with a 4x5 land camera and a Pentax 6.7 medium format camera. Going to go back to film for this.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll shoot a real, have to use an 85 again because you get cheap. You shoot black and white though.
Yeah, but still, all this filter stuff works on black and white too.
That's true. We were talking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
All right, so Ivan,
oh god, this is gonna
best simulation of
actually, this
sun I can
probably
give
ain't
you
gonna
at the
hurt too
moment,
much.
kind of in this weird configuration. if this bulb doesn't explode for me. Hold on, Ivan. All right. So, let's say the sun is shining upon Jeff's face. That's pretty harsh because the majority of the light, you know what?
You have a bald head. You can easily
Majority of the
get
light
it to go.
is kind of coming down like this, right? So it's bright and it's overhead. So this, let's say, is noon, right? I gotta flip this monitor around. I'm trying to see.
That's fine.
So that's noon. That's the harshest, ugliest light you can if you don't have any control. This is when you shoot them and he's front lit and it's all heavy, right? Basic lighting concepts. So what I would suggest doing is finding locations, using the Sun Surveyor tool app and all this stuff to find spots where he's a little more this way, or ideally he's like that. So he gets this rim and you just put a bounce card in front of him. So you just take a bounce card, put it in front, and then you get this sun-lit rim. And if you watch a lot of movies, you're going to see this rim light right here on the side of the head. The Fresnel effect happens, and it's nice looking stuff. Jeff, will you look over to your left a little bit?
Yeah.
So even if he looks that way, he's still got a nice hair light. And depending on how severe it needs to be, and you can look back towards the laptop, goes that route. You know, then there's the occasional opportunity on the cheap when you're dealing with this where you can get the sun just out of frame. You know, it's up high in the sky, but it's backlighting him. And again, use the bounce on the front to really soften it up. What I would never do is that. The sun's up here and it's doing, sorry for the spot, I didn't put this gel on very clean. But the sun's up here and it's just striking down very harshly without any sort of control. That's going to make it a nightmare. So the trick is, just keep in mind, find your locations. When you go scout it, you take that app out and you look at time of day. Most likely, this top light is not going to matter. So you want to look at time of day to being back here. So you're into the afternoon, you know, then you're into sunsetty, goldeny, hourish type stuff like that. But reality is, if you can get the sun from here. So usually for us, during the summer, it's like 7. Well, it's really about 6 o'clock until 7 is ideal for those exteriors when I can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one side of it. That's how I deal with it. If you have to shoot outside in this top light, you just iris down as much as you can and get as much ND as possible. And I mean camera ND. You get as much camera ND as you can muster. And you just shoot it as close focus as you can to knock it down. But just don't let your background go crazy. That was a long explanation, but I felt like it was worth it. I hope that made sense. Putting the light back here, backlighting in the sun will go a lot further and look way more cinematic than anything else. And all you need in the front is just a little bounce. The lamp was pretending to be the sun, right? Just to reiterate.
Yeah. So Tony was asking, can you show the bounce card you would use?
I don't have one in here.
Well, the bounces that we use right now are just the little fold-up, pop-up.
Yeah. You got these.
Photo ones.
But God, I wish I had a piece of cardboard.
It's right in there. It's on the production bag.
So you can get kooky and get one of these giant gimmicks like this, right? So it's not going to work this way, but I could bring it over here maybe. So you can see a little bit of business on Jeff. It's there. These lights aren't really putting enough out. You can get one of these. That's going to cost you some money. That's like a Westcott or one of those gimmicks. Or you can basically find anything white. Here's a movie poster. It's going to do the exact same thing. If I walk it in, we'll see it.
Yep.
So it's going to do the exact same thing, right?
That's
so
pretty
you can
thin.
literally use a movie poster, but it's not going to penetrate through.
Yeah. Or you
it's
could
thin,
go,
it'll blow in the wind. Or you just go to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever your craft store is, and look for
foam core.
And it is dirt cheap, and it is delightful. And it's the cheapest solution you can possibly get. And in fact, it's still used on movie sets. So,
and AMG just said white foam core is great for bouncing lights.
There you go.
That's very true.
It's one of the best you can buy.
Foam core comes from got almost pencil thin all the way to a few inches thick.
Yeah, and really all you need is like 1/8 of an inch thick.
Yeah, you don't need much.
Fine. And then just have some poor schmo hire your friend, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, your dog, your cat, I don't care. Hire somebody to do it for you, like hold it for you, and then you're done. And just bounce it and go. You can even do the bow finger, the really cheap method, and put tinfoil on and make a shiny, though I don't recommend that. You can do that if you really need some really poor man's process type stuff to bring it up. As far as like silks overhead, that gets a little bit crazy. When you start getting outside and fighting the sun, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You start getting into the game of you really need some decent, you need grip gear if you're really going to try and get, you know, the Revenant.
You do, which AMG also posted earlier, which is something I've seen before too. Just get some PVC pipe, some skinny PVC pipe, and attach a sheet to it. Have 2 friends hold it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a way to do it.
Yeah, if you have a grip, if you have people that will grip for you and do that, that's fantastic. It'll work. Just make sure they're holding it, because without the weight, it could blow away and get very dangerous very quickly. The biggest thing about all the grip rigging and all that kind of stuff is it's all about safety.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of that gear exists the way it does. Not just to be expensive, it's about being safe about it. So.
And then you also have sometimes where even when you are safe, it doesn't work out right.
No, that's true. We had one blow over.
Jeff Etheridge.
Yeah, Melissa. You want to talk about that when you showed up an hour and a half late for a job? Melissa, are you still here?
And then
you didn't even show up today.
Almost got killed. Well, that's because of Tom York. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's Tom York. I do want to give a quick shout out to 3 individuals who were awesome enough to pick up some one of our gel packs pretty early adopters. Daniel Pike, Hunter, I don't know your last name, and Sean, I can't say your last name, Sean, I've said that before. You guys bought double jelly rolls. That's 2 bellies for both of you. Huh? Double jelly rolls?
Yeah. Sorry, same time Cart just entered.
Clark!
Haven't seen him in a while.
Alright, that's kind of it. I don't really have much else to say. I'll answer any lighting questions I can if I can help you guys in any way possible. Oh, wow. The stuff exists to kind of help you do things. Just don't hide behind technology. Don't use that stuff as a weakness to say you can't do it. You can. Like, it's lit with cheapness. The sun is the greatest lighting source of all time. A bounce card, that'll cost you $2 for a big one. And you can cut it yourself. And then time of day, the Sun Survey Pro app is free. You go to the site, you pull out your phone, you look like an idiot, like you're playing Pokemon Go, and you find out where the sun is going to set. It shows you the time of day. You can move the sun, and you put the sun behind your subject as much, or 3/4 behind, as much in that direction, here and over there, as possible, so you get some nice, pretty stuff. You don't even have to get lens flares from it, even if it's high enough in the sky.
Yep.
You just got to time your time of day. So if you're doing daylight exteriors, if you can split your schedule, shoot your morning outside, go inside for the hottest part of the day. Your crew will thank you for that as well. And then take everybody's butts outside after lunch, get them moving again, and get your daylight shots as you need to get them. And you're under a little bit of pressure because the sun's going down or coming up. So
gotta work fast.
It makes you work fast and work sharper. That's what I would do. That's my tech tip. Nothing's unprofessional if it gets a result.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's caveat that. Don't take that literally literal. Plenty of things are unprofessional. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you are using cheap lights or cheap gear and you're getting the result, good for you. Go for it. That's what I mean. To be safe. Is that a Trev question?
Yes, and I can go ahead and tell Trev without even having to ask if you've used it, because I know you haven't. Neither one of us have used it. No.
What?
The Cam TV Bolton kit. It's a portable 3-light set.
Nope.
Never have.
We have an RE kit, and I have a bunch of RE lights I've just collected over the years, and so I have those. I am going to try and sell a bunch of gear. We're selling a bunch of RE.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
Trying to.
I'm hopefully going to take some of the gear when we sell all of it, and I'm going to buy some of those relamps. Which take Fresnel lights, Fresnel lamps like the RE lights that we have, and let you put an LED bulb in it. And the reason I'm going to do that is they make daylight versions, and the 2K for that makes it a 575 HMI, and I have a bunch of 2Ks. So if I can afford enough to take my 2Ks and make them 575 HMIs, I'd be a very happy guy. Because 90% of the time we have a 1.2 HMI, it's too much horsepower.
It is.
And they draw something like 40 watts.
Yeah.
So they're not even pulling that many amps.
Yep.
So they're fine on a plug. So delightful.
And then I haven't asked Mission Impossible Fallout review. We
Jeff's
can
the
do
only one
that
that can
some
review
other
it.
time, yeah, because Drew has never seen it.
Kids. You can say whatever you want.
Loved it, though.
You done
No, I'm not going to say I want you to see it.
I won't see it until Redbox, bro.
That's fine.
We're a Redbox
Still
family.
not going to spoil it.
You got Purple Drank families. You got Sunny D families. Forget all them.
I'll say this, the mustache...
I'm a Redbox family.
The mustache is glorious.
I think the mustache plays. I think it's cool looking.
I kind of wish he had it more often.
Yeah.
It makes Superman a lot better.
Yeah. Also, if you want to be a professional gaffer, you have to have glasses with a strap on the back. Gaffer or DP.
Well, if you're in LA, you also have to have the handkerchief tied around your neck.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So,
No, not doing it. It's not.
Sorry to, I don't think any of my gaffer
Jamie
friends in LA watch this show.
Jamie Erman has a handkerchief. He's part of the LBC. Okay, I'm the king of it right now. I'm winning.
No, you're not.
I'm winning the LBC. I think per square inch. I think we're pretty close.
That's fine. We'll just drink more beer on this trip, and then we'll.
Yeah, we're going out of town, so you guys will try and do some videos. I don't know what's going to happen live streams going forward. By the way, I have a question. I haven't asked you this.
Yes.
I did notice we had a really great response at night.
We did.
Would you guys rather this live stream like move from 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, U.S. time, to a nighttime that's appropriate? We could do Tuesday evenings. Tuesday evenings, what do we miss? SmackDown? Nobody cares about SmackDown.
I don't care about Raw either, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, would you guys
As long as
rather
we don't
be
do
at night?
Wednesday night.
One night? Would you rather these shows being at night? Should we test it at night sometime and just prep for it? If you don't want to answer on the live stream because you can't, because you're watching this in the future, or past, I mean. Then,
Answer in the comments section.
yeah, throw it in the comments and tell us what you want us to do.
Yeah.
And we'll keep working on stuff to try and help you grow. It helps us grow, help you grow. I'm obviously growing on my own. Beer has done that for me.
Also getting older on your own.
Jeez. 40.
Almost.
40.
Nighttime is worth a go.
Yeah.
How late
Todd,
we talking?
nighttime for Todd, though, would be like,
I know.
we
Afternoon
did like
for
7
Todd.
o'clock in Central Time is going to be like 5.
He'll be
5
stuck in
o'clock.
traffic. It'd be perfect for him.
No, that's true. It might be perfect for you, Todd.
Because then he can take an hour of sitting
Depends.
in
Todd
one spot.
probably has like such a cool thing. He's out in Cali, and I in an area, not to give anything away, Todd, but you probably can walk. You probably walk to your job every day, cutting right there through the plaza. You go by Shutters. You flip everybody off at Shutters. You're like, I don't need to be at Shutters to be seen. VFX Todd, I know you. I know the kind of person you. Just kidding. I know where you live out there, but
So it's,
I don't think that's even.
It's 10 in European Central Time.
What? 7
Right
p.m.?
now. It's 10 p.m. right now.
Oh, so we would lose.
We would lose most of Europe.
But we'd gain more America?
Sure. That's not necessarily a good thing.
You do walk. You
Just kidding.
turd! I hate you, man. I love where you live out there. I absolutely... Lucky. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
We'll have to try it, but we'll go back
Maybe
and
we'll
forth.
experiment.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
do
know.
both.
It's a different crowd. I know
Yeah.
that much.
Definitely.
We'll miss you guys. Since you won't follow with us, you'll still be looking at 2 o'clock. And we're not doing more than one live stream. No one watches these anyway. All right, I'm killing the streams, Ray. You got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. That'll work.
All right, Clark, good to see you as always. You're a celebrity.
He is.
You know who hadn't been here?
Espen.
Vikings.
I know.
Dang.
He's been on Instagram a little bit, though.
I know. He must be working.
Yeah, I guess he is working.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Trev.
Good for you, too.
Always
also,
a blessing,
Tony.
Trev. I love seeing Trev. All right, I'm killing the streams, Ray. AMG, you too.
Yep.
Shout outs.
MPEG, if he's still here.
MPEG,
Everybody.
Melissa,
The
you
whole,
can go to hell.
The whole group.
Go to hell,
Yeah,
Melissa.
Except for Melissa.
You can go straight.
Unless you're bringing VR up here, then,
Oh, yeah, bring the VR
then
back.
bring VR back.